I once read in a large survey that over 90% of people said the same thing when their car was involved in an accident. This is not a multiple choice question. No, it says, fill in the field. This is probably not the time to laugh at these things, but I agree with most of them. I realized that this was the first time I had caused a collision. I was impressed before, but this time it was different. My face was in the airbag. I have no pain. Two good things. The coolant has a characteristic odor, so there is no doubt that it is spoiled. The brake fluid also smells bad. I can smell it. Surprisingly, he didn't get lost. Things didn't turn out the way I imagined. As I sat and pondered this question, I realized that I actually had no idea what the desired outcome was. Another benefit is that I don't smell any gasoline or smoke. My truck stopped. I don't think I'll ever work again. In the back of my mind, I expected my truck to crash into the wall and send shards of glass flying. Is this how it happens? Absolutely not. That's not all. Not only did my truck hit the wall, but it continued to do so until it was completely inside the wall. If I could find a mirror, I would know how far I have flown in space. Because my face was covered by the airbag, I couldn't see anything. I don't know how much time passed, but someone anxiously asked me if I was in pain. How can I answer this question when my lips are kissing the airbag? The buzzing got louder, and then the woman screamed, "Someone's hurt! My God, it is not normal!" Of course, she couldn't talk about me, which made me doubly happy. The airwaves were filled with sirens. The sound of a fire truck is different from the sound of an ambulance. I doubt either of them will succeed anytime soon. It was a circus. Dismantle severely damaged ones. Hey, they chained it up and pulled my truck out into the afternoon sun. I walked away with a few scratches, bumps, and bruises. The second ambulance was carrying a stretcher. The first ambulance had left a few minutes earlier. After the search, my shackled buttocks were pushed into the back seat of a patrol car. I think losing control of the truck could cause problems. At least I'm not an immigrant who spent 110 years in prison. I don't know why they didn't take me. This allowed me to assess the damage. My suitcase crashed into the wall, tearing off the door, window, and air conditioner. The stair didn't stop until he pushed the bed and box spring into the bathroom. Rooms 6 and 10 look completely untouched. There is a mistake in number 8. At least it was a one-story building. My blood literally boiled when I saw Joe hanging around the motel. I'm no genius, but I'm glad we broke up. I refused to talk to the police. The orange jumpsuit wasn't as uncomfortable as I thought it would be. There is a kindergarten. I wonder how the poor people in Ward 8 fare. Like I said, I thought the truck was going to go out the window. And yet I couldn't help laughing. Where are my paths? My name is Vince Clancy. He is 23 years old and has a wife of the same age. After school, we went outside and made mistakes. When we were married, Ginny and I didn't have visible bellies. 2 months later, Ginny suffered a miscarriage. As much as it bothered me, Ginny took it personally. After 6 months of deliberation, we decided to wait a few years before trying again. His mood swings continue to this day. The forced marriage also ruined our college plans. Instead of getting a diploma, I got a job and trained as an electrician. Ginny started working as a temp, mostly as a secretary. Many of her performances were done in one day, but sometimes when someone went on vacation, she would stay for a week. I played football in high school and I wasn't ashamed. Ginny is one of 6 basketball fans. She went to all my football games, and I went to all her basketball games. While her motivation may have been to support me, my motivation was to keep the wolf away from her. The basketball players and their friends kept trying to take it away from me. In my opinion, no one had this. The star player of the basketball team is Joe Clark. He and I are not friends or friends of friends. We run in different circles. But that didn't stop him from making ambiguous proposals to Ginny from time to time. She smiled. I try not to let it bother me, but it's hard because I'm especially jealous. Although I was an honorable mention at the state level, Joe was only second team all-conference. These awards are for winning teams, and our basketball team is terrible. Joe received a scholarship for tuition and housing at a nearby Division I school, and after graduation, he played in a campus summer league. He had surprisingly little playing time at the start of the season. He's a good player when he doesn't face players who make mistakes. Joe would always bring home one of his friends and everything. One of Joe's best friends, Nolan Larson, is the star of his team and an obnoxious jerk. While his team was fighting for a playoff spot, Nolan was treated like a god. Nolan still seduced Ginny, sometimes even in front of me, even though he knew she was married. Ginny laughed at this. Every now and then I have to step in and cause a scene. This seemed to irritate Ginny. Apparently Joe and Nolan are best friends because Nolan is always with Joe whenever he returns to our town. Usually I can't stand their nonsense and find a way to keep us busy with something else. The meeting lasted only one weekend, but the summer holidays lasted much longer. It was a lot more complicated, and there were a few arguments between Ginny and I. Are you my husband or my partner? I'm a big girl and I can take care of myself. These guys are just showing off. Leave them alone. If you're the jealous type, this is easier said than done. To make matters worse, Ginny felt very good. She blew the whistle while we were dancing. Proudly? Yes. Are you jealous? Yes. Crazy? I didn't expect this, but now it's time to rethink. Mr. Clancy, my name is Scott Jensen. I'm your public defender, said a very young man. God, I think he might be a few years older than me. The clock shows about 2. Good afternoon, Scott. You can call me Vince. What do you remember about the truck accident, Vince? All. Did you do this on purpose? Not really. I was just trying to scare them. I guess I didn't expect a truck moving so slowly to cause so much damage. According to police reports, you were in your 30s when you attacked the motel room. It's not that slow. I may have fired when I was white-knuckled and full of rage, but I had no intention of destroying the wall. It was worth it. Suspect. He now faces 2 counts of assault by vehicle. The situation may change after Larson's death. It could also be attempted murder. Oh, it's a shame, isn't it? Yes, you threw the air conditioner across the room. Mr. Larson was shot in the lower back, lots of internal injuries, but the good news is that it probably saved their lives. The sound of the air conditioner died down before they went to bed, before the truck pinned them against the wall with mattresses. Like a dog? His wife? The impact struck Mr. Larson in the pelvis and broke several bones in his face. He lost most of his front teeth, and Mr. Larson was left with permanent scars, if you know what I'm talking about. If you know what I'm talking about. You really mean it? Well, what a shame. Otherwise, they were relatively unharmed. Oh no, not even close. They all had many other broken bones. The mattress did not provide adequate protection when the truck pushed everything into the bathroom. Mr. Larson could have been paralyzed. I wanted to cry, Scott, but I didn't. It's clear. How did you know they were in this room? Because when they came in and closed the door, the number 8 was written on the door. You're new to this, aren't you, Scott? I'm a little nervous right now. Let me put it another way. How did you know you were there that day? I gave Ginny a bouquet of flowers as a birthday surprise. If I had time, I would invite her to dinner. She waited for the lights to come on and a flashy sports car to pull up and get into it. I just followed them. So what happened at the motel? Did you argue with her? Well, her car pulled up to the registration area and Ginny got out. I was still on the main road waiting for traffic to clear so I could turn left into the parking lot. Sport circled the building and stopped. I followed him, to him. A few minutes later, Ginny left the office and headed to the 8th room. He greeted her when she arrived. The rest, as they say, is history. So you don't know what they did? You're really new to this, aren't you, Scott? That? Do you think they're planning a birthday surprise for me? Careless? Vince, I'm here to help you. I can't help you until I know all the facts. How long were you in the truck before you attacked him? I think after a few minutes, the anger clouded my judgment. I'm lost, sugarless, devastated. Like I said, I just wanted to scare them. Ginny slowly woke up from her long sleep. He wrote something on the notepad the nurse gave him. Where I am. What's happened? Miss Clancy, you are at Mercy General Hospital. You were injured when a truck drove into your room. They had several fractures and several internal injuries. The doctor prescribed you a sedative. If you are still in pain, I can help you. Take medicine. How do you feel? Ginny quickly wrote down her next question. I feel like my face is bandaged and my mouth is taped shut. Why is my head so tense? I can't move my legs or just one arm. Well, your arms and legs are in casts. In fact, you have a cast all over your body. Yes, your face is heavily bandaged, your mouth is sealed. If you're ready, the detective will ask you. A few questions for you. Can I call him? Of course, is scrawled. It's in about 3 hours. Miss Clancy, this is Detective Green. How's your memory? The handle is worn out. I don't think it's good. I don't remember the accident. The nurse said I was hit by a truck. What do you remember from Tuesday morning? Write slowly. Did you mean this morning? Actually, today is Friday. You've been here for 10 days. I think they put you in a coma. With a trembling pen. Oh God, I dressed a little better and got to work. What did you cook for lunch? The eyes moved back and forth for a few seconds. I went to lunch with a friend. Does this friend have a name? As he got off the bus, he said, Nolan Larson. So where did you go for lunch? Pens don't lie, but people. I don't remember. Calling from the Hampton Inn? Tears soaked the bandage. I got the room when Nolan parked the car. Was I hit by a truck? You must be lucky. No, you were in your room with Mr. Larson when the truck crashed into your room. More scratches. Did someone lose control of the truck? Not really. Looks like your little party wasn't the birthday present your husband was hoping for. In a trembling tone. My birthday? My God. So this was not an event that you and your husband approved in advance? Say no quickly. That's all I have at the moment. Good luck with your recovery. Mr. Larson, can you hear me? The nurse contacted the doctor. He didn't answer because he was told his spine was broken and he would never walk again. Of course you gave up this promising career, didn't you? Said the surgeon. The nurse shook her head. If a married woman acts a little strange, the price is high. My friends and family were willing to post bail. When I'm done watching this shit show, I'm leaving here. Death threats to end Nolan's career do not justify his release pending trial. I would take my time and go. Take me if you can. About 10 weeks after this event, Ginny came to see me. He arrived in a wheelchair but hobbled on crutches to a chair in the visiting room. Ginny, you seem to be in a good mood. His voice was calm. I'm really sorry. Did you really want to physically hurt me? No, I just wanted to scare you and interrupt your sexual activity. How is your neck? It's not funny, Vince. You have to believe me. I never cheated on you. And then you broke up before it went too far. How do you know? Well, I picked flowers for our wedding anniversary and wanted to surprise you at work. If you wanted to go somewhere, why didn't you say so? I didn't want to expose myself. I didn't know why I did it. He was a big star and I fell for his bullshit. You know he's paralyzed, right? Yes, that's what they told me. Maybe you should sign him up for the Special Olympics. You'll make a good match in the modified potato sack competition. I think I deserve it. I just want to say that I'm really sorry. I hope your trial goes well. It looks like you have a lot of plans for this day. While sitting in the patrol car, I saw Joe Clark stick his head out. How did he know you were going to be there? My God, I'm so sorry, Vince. The floodgates of tears opened. Honestly, I'm not jealous anymore. When my love for Ginny faded, I didn't care what she did or who she did it with. This kind of gullibility irritates me. Hey, if you knew where my truck and the memorial flower I bought were towed, you'd still be sitting somewhere in the front seat. I heard you bite a big star. What do you mean? Where? Ginny didn't answer. She pushed me, stood up, and limped back to her wheelchair. Always a pleasure to visit. It can improve your mood. Weeks passed and the trial drew closer. I've rejected all requests for bail. A few days before the trial, I agreed to settle the matter. If they convince the jury of the attempted murder charge, a year in prison will seem better than the large number of people I'll have to face. I get hate mail when the basketball team loses. I got death threats when they miss the playoffs. Guys, this is a great game. One of Scott's employees filed for divorce on my behalf. Since everyone has signed everything, the question remains up in the air. Soon I'll be alone. My lawyer came unexpectedly. Scott, long time no see. What does my future look like? Well, the prosecutor suggested serving a prison sentence and 2 years probation. Scott, tell him I want to leave the state as soon as I get out. Given the constant death threats, probation won't work. Show him these letters. Let's see what they can agree on. The following week, I was transferred to a treatment facility to serve the remainder of my recently commuted sentence for a 5th-degree felony to which I pleaded guilty. I'm leaving in a few weeks and leaving the state the same day. With my assets depleted, a convicted felon, and no hope of getting a decent credit rating in the next few years, things looked bleak. A few days before leaving the hospital, Ginny saw me again. He walked relatively normally and had a slight limp. What brings you to Ginny? Now we are separated. My last visit did not go as well as I expected. I want to apologize again. If I wasn't there, you wouldn't be here. Well, Ginny, they locked me up because I couldn't control my anger. It's my business. Point of view. I won't deny that I'm out of control. I could go ask for a divorce or disappear. I did it to serve time for what he did. I don't blame anyone. And yet you are angry at what I did. Do you like my new teeth? Beautiful as always. How are your friends? No need to be angry. I try to ignore any stories or rumors about this. If I had one wish that I knew would come true, it would be for you to arrive 10 minutes early with flowers. We would always be together. I'm not making the worst mistake of my life. It's Ginny's turn, but no matter what God you pray to, no wish will come true. Where do you work? I work full-time as a bricklayer secretary. Same routine. There's no man to go home to. It's all my fault. What are your plans if you are released? I left the state. I still get hate mail every week that ruined Nolan's career. Maybe I'll try to live under the radar for a few years. Is there room in your plans for dirty pigeons? Okay, answer the question. Why did you leave the USA? I wish I could give you a logical answer, but I guess I can't. So now I just want to go out and walk alone. But thanks for the offer. I think about the good times that helped me get through it. If you change your mind, you'll find out where I work. Help is always welcome in my arms. Okay, of course. See you next time. No thanks. Ginny's tears slowly streamed down her face. The weather was cloudy when we took the van to the bus station in the city center. The streets were dry, but the sidewalks were still wet. It fits my soul perfectly. I use a bus ticket to go to the city where my parents live. They bought me a used truck and a few $100s to help me out. They live on a tight budget, so they are very generous. 3 days and 2 states later, I ran out of money. There are many temporary jobs, but their salaries are not enough for food and sleep. My old car allowed me to travel further. I make enough money begging on street corners to buy a cheap cell phone. Actually, I just want to find a job online. Effective. I discovered that a construction company urgently needed an electrician. Daily cash payments. Although I made friends, I was no longer the outgoing person I used to be. Now I live in a cheap motel room once a week. The girl from the previous squad did several tricks that I really liked. Let me clarify, I'm not interested in tricks, I could just use their services, but money is very tight. One night he caught my attention and unbuttoned his coat a little. Ready to try? Unless you have an IOU, smile. Let me think, no. I doubt you need an electrician, so I have nothing to sell. What a disgrace, you look chiseled. I like men who can crush me. I'll remember this when my ship arrives. Hi, my client mentioned a project that sparks a spark. I can't talk now because I need to pull myself together before the next meeting. I laughed. We were just anonymous people trying to survive the night. It's hard to sleep when I imagine holding her in my arms. Damn, it's time for me to sleep. A few days later, I saw my companion again. She handed me a piece of paper. I tell my clients that I know an electrician. Here's the number. Thank you, you didn't have to do that. I know. See you later. He got into his Hyundai and drove off. I had to ask people I worked with how much they charged for small jobs. Armed with this knowledge, I dialed the number. A woman answered the call, which surprised me. Oops, I don't want this lady to know that her father is dating a prostitute. Yeah, hi, I got your number from a friend. I heard you need an electrician? Yes, what are your prices and availability? Well, I work until 6 Monday through Friday. If it's a small job, I can do it at night. If it's not a small job, then on Saturday and Sunday. See, it's cheaper per day than per hour. I hope it doesn't freeze because I listed hourly and daily rates. We are changing the name. Deb belonged to him and I had the address. I'll come over on Saturday morning and take a look. When Saturday arrived, I was surprised to find that it was located in a gated community. Having made sure that he was waiting for me, I walked through the territory to his address. There was only one car in the garage, so this gentleman must have been playing golf or something. Deb, who is about the same age as my mom, doesn't wear a ring. Everything went wrong. You need to replace the ground fault receptacles in the master bathroom and want to install some motion sensor light switches. There are photographs of young people on its walls, but none of them depict a father figure. There was only one pillow on his bed. I began to believe that there is no Lord. I gave Deb my phone number and she paid me in advance to get the materials. After a short drive around Los Angeles, I found myself just before lunch. While I was working, Deb brought me a bottle of lemonade and a plate of cookies. Which of my friends told you that I need an electrician? I'm cold. What can I say? Oh, and the prostitute at the seedy motel I was staying at found out I was an electrician. I didn't know his name. He overheard me talking about my job as an electrician, and we talked for a few minutes. Blonde redhead, about 5'5" tall. Oh, okay. I have several friends who may be interested in your services. Do you mind if I tell you their names? This is good. I don't have any money right now. What other talents do you have? Asked Blink. Now I'm confused. She was friends with a prostitute, or rather a lesbian, and I swear she flirted with me. It was my turn to blush. When I tried to flirt, my response made Deb laugh. I'm young and I'm not afraid to sweat. I'll tell him, Deb smiled. My imagination wanted more, but I put his money in my jeans and left. Less than 10 minutes passed when I received a call from an unknown number. "This is Vince. Hey, I'm glad I caught you. Deb just gave me your phone number. I live 2 houses away from her. You can come?" It was a woman's voice. "Yeah, I'm just going to eat something. What is your address?" Having remembered her address, I finished my sandwich and went to her. It took me a while to get through security because I didn't know his name, only his address. Finally, they accepted me. There were 2 cars in the garage and both doors were open. I parked the car on the street. My old car was without a doubt the worst car ever. After discreetly knocking on the door, I was greeted by a very sweet but sweet young woman. "Are you calling about some strange job?" She rolled her eyes. "Mother, this is for you." She turned, what the hell might I add, and left me standing. When the lady arrived, I noticed the resemblance. "You must be Vince. Are you replacing ceiling fans? What about motion sensor switches?" "Oh yeah, I need more outlets in the garage." "Yes, yes, yes, yes." I answered all questions with a bright smile. "Then go ahead." After writing down everything I wanted to do, I asked, "Did you buy what you wanted to install? By the way, should I call you the eye-rolling mother-daughter?" This made her smile. "Nancy, it's Jolene. She's waiting for her boyfriend and she's upset. I'm really sorry." "No, I didn't buy anything. If you want, we can go shopping at Lowe's." "Wait, we'll have to install these things. How many?" I wrote down the approximate estimate and handed him the sheet. "Okay, go ahead. Do you want a story?" That was until he saw my things. "Oh my God, I'm driving. We can fit in my trunk and in the back seat." "Well, if you insist. I haven't ridden a bike as good as yours in a long time, if ever." His project was not completed until sunset. Jolene got angry because her boyfriend rejected her and kept looking at me. By adding tips to my quotes, I completed almost 1,000 jobs between 2 jobs. If you've never lived with money in your pocket every day, you won't understand the fear of being robbed when you don't have much. I slept in a dream because I thought that anyone could see from my face that I had a piano in my pocket. Your first stop on Monday should be to open a checking account and get a debit card. I left Monday night with money in the bank. Although the thought of paying a sexual partner excited me, I simply couldn't risk it. Instead, I went to the local pub and grabbed a bar stool. I didn't look, but there were several ladies there. "Are you going to look at your beer all night? Some of us are dressed, but you don't even look at us." When I looked up and saw a beautiful woman, I pretended to look her up and down. "Yes, you look good." She must have expected more from me. After a short pause, "Is that all? Do you want to ask me to dance? Will you buy me a drink?" "No, you were stalking. I thought I'd let you take the lead." She rolled her eyes and turned to her friends. I suspect that I was slandered when he declared me an idiot. I went in, had a glass of wine, and felt sorry for myself. Can a person do that without getting hit? Well, after about 30 minutes, the only person who wasn't dancing came and sat next to me. "You don't look at children, so I think you have problems with women." "Never ever." "So, what is your writing style?" "I need time to learn to live again." "Do you want to talk?" "Not really. I like the beer and the view. What do you like?" "My friends and I love to come here to drink and dance. You all think you're going to get lucky, but that's not why we're here. Don't get me wrong. There are a lot of girls out there looking for excitement. If you like to be a little more adventurous, you can also get married. In such a small town, who would have thought that such an event would happen at night? We don't consider ourselves a small town, so you have to be a big city person. I think that's it. I've never been to a nightclub." "Why? You look good." "I got married early. I didn't have a lot of money, so I went to friends' parties or to the cinema in the evening." "This does not work. I accept it because I don't see the aura." "Bingo. Yes, I'm here to dance, and if you don't ask me, I'll call you back later. My name is Ashley." "My name is Vince." "Nice talking to you, Ashley." I'm very good at making women roll their eyes and shake their heads in disbelief. That night, lying in bed, I realized that what I needed was not sex, but communication. Just talking to Ashley lifted my spirits. I ate dinner at the bar almost every night, if you can call it that. For me, the most important thing is not to make contacts, but just to talk. The next time Ashley and her team came over, I asked them to dance. Although they invited me to sit at their table, I refused. Mixed feelings make me wonder how things will go. I got another call about the work I was doing for Deb. The woman's house was in another area of the city. My room is already full until Saturday morning. The following Friday night, I was sitting on a bar stool eating pickles, hard-boiled eggs, and pretzels when I felt a tap on my shoulder. When I looked in the mirror, I saw her standing there. "Hey, Ashley, where's your team? Mom drinks water. After dinner, sit at the table with me." He turned and left. It sounded more like an order than a request, so I followed the instructions. "Can I buy you a drink?" While I sat down. "No, thanks. I know you don't have much money, so I'll buy it myself." "So how do you know my financial situation?" "Okay, let's see. What are you wearing? What are you driving? What are you eating?" Continue. "Captured. Now I live a simple life." "Let's get acquainted. I have a college degree and a job at a warehouse distribution center where I can barely use my education. My solution is to move or integrate until something happens or someone comes. Married. Never. Not a stable guy. Now you. I left my girlfriend in high school and never went to college. We got married quickly, and then she had a miscarriage. I caught her on the way to the motel, and then took her truck to the same motel room. I was in prison there for some time. Even if this person is now a quadriplegic, he was divorced while serving his sentence. In fact, I fiddled with my phone, looked up the story online, and handed it to him. After some time, he returned the phone to me. "So, do you still want to meet?" I asked him as he studied my face. "It must have been a shock to your system." "Do you believe it?" "Believe it or not, I never intended to hurt them. This doesn't make sense from a legal point of view. When I sit in the cell, my heart skips a beat. I've been gone for a month. The stage can be deceiving. Is there anything else I should know about you?" "I do electrical work for a guy who pays me cash. I recently started doing small electrical work on the weekends to earn extra money. I mean, I've never broken any laws other than leaving tire tracks on your ex. No, not even a fine for speeding. I broke down that day and paid dearly. How much are you going to spend here tonight?" "About 20, why?" "Let's go to the thrift store and buy some decent clothes." Over my shoulder, there was a fierce battle between the devil and the angel. Miss Question, Miss Question. I accepted his offer. She drives. "Why did you do that?" "Because you wouldn't do it yourself. You're too young, your life has just begun, and it's time to move on." "What do you get out of it?" "If I still think you're a good guy, I can ask you out on a date." Well, I spent $30 that night, but I bought a few shirts and pants. Ashley led me back to my car. "Get out of the car." "Thank you, Ashley. Can I give you a ride sometime?" "I thought you would never ask. Tomorrow night at 6, put on new clothes and come to the cinema to see me." It was a very busy day. Once this became my norm, I started working on Saturday mornings occasionally. I had almost $1,600 in the bank, but I still had $50 left to pay for the night. I wanted to go out at 4 p.m., but realized I looked stupid in my only pair of shoes. Not much of an upgrade for my jeans. So I went back to the thrift store and found a decent pair of shoes for under $10. What I thought was a date turned out to be a double date. Ashley met me with her friend and date. As a convicted criminal, it shouldn't surprise you that people want to defend themselves, but the movie and the drinks that followed were good. I was left out of most conversations because they had college memories, and I couldn't participate or contribute anything to the discussion. Ashley never noticed my discomfort. I like not only a kiss on the lips, but also a hug. This is what I missed the most. I gave Ashley a piece of paper with a note and my phone number. "You have my number, I don't have yours. Call me if I don't scare you." Putting the paper in the tablet, he whispered, "I'll do it." I was very happy with how everything turned out, but it didn't last long. I was filling up my truck Tuesday night when I saw Ashley walking arm in arm with a man toward a nearby restaurant. We were only together platonically, and I couldn't handle it emotionally. Everything is back. Anger, sadness, helplessness, resentment. Just when I was sure that Ginny couldn't hurt me again, it hit me again. My fight or flight instinct kicked in, and I decided that the grass must be greener on the other side. I wasn't ready for any relationship. It's not Ashley's fault. Since my motel room was paid for on Friday, I had a few days to decide which way to turn the steering wheel. When the guy I worked for told me he knew someone who needed an electrician, my decision was simple. On Friday morning, I still had 500 miles to go. Without thinking twice, I answered the call while driving. "Hey Vince, where have you been?" "I got a job in another city. You never called, so I couldn't say I was going. Thanks for the help." "When will you be back?" "I don't think so, but I'll add you to my contact list in case we meet again." His voice was sad, perhaps hurt. I probably should have called earlier. "No problem, I enjoyed the short time we spent together." After a few more minutes of reminders, my time with Ashley was over. Although my parents wanted me to visit them during the holidays, they understood why this would not be the best solution for the next few years. Sooner or later, another basketball star will emerge, and all Nolan's thoughts will fade into the footnotes of history. I dated several women and even went to a swingers party with one of them. I enjoy all types of sex, but this discourages me from spending more time on it. Being assigned to someone's party is often demoralizing. Frozen fish. The date told me, my heart is hidden safe. The best way to keep your horse invincible is to maintain consistency. My heart too. You can't hurt him if he never sees the light of day. It's been 3 years since I returned to China to visit my parents. Everything went well, and I was able to fly. The basketball team is already in the playoffs, so it's a lot safer for me. No one mentioned Ginny, for which I was grateful. The return flight passed without incident. I even talked to a woman my age on a plane. No names or phone numbers were exchanged. My name is Heather. I worked in the cafeteria of a large office building downtown, right on Broadway. I feel lonely because Mr. Wright doesn't know me yet. I admire the lone wolf who eats here every day. He always puts a piece of cherry pie on the tray. His mark says Vince. He works at an investment bank but doesn't dress like a banker. There was something about him that fascinated me. Since Vince didn't have a ring, I decided to give it a try. One day while preparing the trays, I told the manager that I needed to go to the bathroom. Instead, I waited for Vince, and when he arrived, I handed him a note that said, "Call me sometime. Heather and my phone numbers." I laughed. He smiled and nodded. A few evenings later, we met for dinner. Nothing special, just a cafe near my house. It was truly a revelation. Vince talks about how he worked as an electrician and laborer for an investment company. Surprisingly, he is a convicted criminal. He found an article about it on his phone. "Vince, that was 4 years ago. Do you miss her?" "No." "Actually, not at all. Why don't you, such a handsome man, even have a girlfriend?" Risk versus reward. If I give it my all and everything goes wrong again, will I go crazy? So it's a matter of trust? Maybe. If my trust in a girl was wrong, would I have the confidence to treat her with dignity? The last time I went out, I saw her with another guy. Although we never kissed, all the pain came back. When it was? 3 years ago. I've since gotten over that relationship. Fine, I think I understand. We will move forward slowly, but only if you agree to ask before you act. I don't want this to blow up because one of us suggested something that wasn't true. What if I don't want a relationship yet? So we're not going to be here tomorrow for dinner and then to the movies. I saw "I want" in his eyes. His hand slid across the table and I placed mine in his. Vince looked at me for a few minutes and then whispered, "See you tomorrow." Butterflies swirled around me as Vince quietly walked out of the cafe. Perhaps he is the ideal man. Conclusion, it's simple. Far. I was an extrovert and Vince needed reassurance that it was his and his alone. He loves cuddles as much as he loves sex. I can read on his lap while he watches sports. As we got closer, Vince became extremely possessive. The sled was difficult, but we survived. Knowing why this is so makes it easier for me to accept it. We've been married for 10 years. At our wedding, I refused to dance with everyone except her father. I don't have bachelor parties, and when I go shopping with friends, I always invite Vince to go shopping with me. We have a 6-year-old daughter and a 3-year-old son. In the meantime, I had a miscarriage and needed counseling. My counselor and I convinced Vince to take extra lessons. The item is damaged, but it is mine. I don't think I'll ever find a man as caring as Vince. I knew why I was hurt, and every day I looked in the mirror and reminded myself that I should never give him a reason to doubt my love.